This week in the conversation, I have the privilege to welcome award-winning author, Jesmond Grech, out of Malta, a beautiful island off the coast of Italy. We're going to be talking about his fantastic novel titled A Simple Affair, a Murder Mystery. But before we get into the video, I just want to remind everyone that it's important to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you do, don't forget to click the notification bell so that way every time a video is posted, it'll go directly into your portal. So let's get started. Again, my name is Ardain Isma, and I'm here this afternoon with a compelling author, very compelling. He's joined me from Malta, off the coast of Italy. I'm so delighted and honored to have author Jesmond Grech in the conversation. So, Jesmond, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Isma, for inviting me here. Thank you.
Okay, so to begin with, Jesmond, would you please tell the viewers of CSMS Magazine who is Jesmond Grech?
Okay, I'm a 58-year-old author from Malta, which is a very small island off the coast of Sicily. And this book that we're speaking about today, my novel, A Simple Affair, it's my 18th publication.
Wow.
But it is my first publication in English.
In English, okay.
And you would say, what about the other 17? The other 17 are in the Maltese language.
Okay.
Which is the language, obviously, that I speak every day.
Okay.
We speak English because for 150 or over years,
right.
We have been a colony of Britain. They loved Malta very much.
Okay.
They used to come to Malta, to the Grand Harbor, and use it for strategic purposes.
Right.
Obviously, we learned English, which became really our second language.
Right. Okay, so Jesmond, we're diving into right now A Simple Affair, a Murder Mystery. Could you please raise the book so the audience can see it? You want to show it?
Here it is.
There you go. A compelling story. But sometimes you would think that a small island, off the coast of Sicily, you think it's a beautiful, quiet place where everybody knows your name. But yet, there is a murder mystery going on.
Obviously, as you know, people are all the same all over the world. People have the same feelings. Right. So even if you are in a tiny island such as Malta or in the United States, people still love each other, still hate each other, still help each other, still kill each other. So that's it. This book is a murder story, but it's based obviously in the place where I live. If you tell me, describe which place in the world are you able to describe best, I will tell you, obviously, it's the place where I live. I can describe the best place. It is the place where I live. So I imagined a murder story happening here in Malta. So what you're going to see here, what you're going to read in this book, it's about Maltese characters, Maltese villages, towns, landscapes, and whatever. But there's a mystery, there's a murder, and there is also an inspector who's going to try to solve this murder.
So if I get that, because I know we're talking about Inspector Di Bono.
Sander De Bono. Yes, Sander is his name. It's short for Alexander. And De Bono is quite a common name. Most probably, people of culture, when they hear the surname De Bono, they think about Edward De Bono, the late Professor Edward de Bono, who invented the term lateral thinking, lateral creative thinking. He was the person who made that concept worldwide. Dr. de Bono, Professor de Bono. He passed, recently. God rest his soul. But he was an international figure. He was a Maltese doctor. He studied in Oxford as well, in England, and he promoted the lateral thinking concepts. The famous concept of the 6 thinking hats.
Okay, Jesmond, there's one question I want to ask you here. You say that Inspector de Bono is forced to juggle between what is legal and what is expedient. And to solve this riddle, he finds himself bending rules and as well as regulation. Could you please elaborate on that for us?
Yes. So we've said that Malta is a small island.
Right.
And as you said, everybody in a small island, everybody knows each other. And just for your information, there's a huge overpopulation in Malta.
Really?
In fact, Malta is the 7th country which is most populated in the world. There is more than 100,000 people per square kilometer.
Oh, that's far. That's really.
That's one of you practically bump into people here.
Right.
Okay? Not to mention traffic, which is
horrible.
Don't go even there. I mean, but that's because of our size. Now, what happens is when people know each other, if something happens and they've seen something which is bad, people are very afraid to tell on each other because one can pinpoint. So
and everybody knows.
Everybody knows. You told the police about me, so I'm going to I'm going to find an occasion and hit back at you. So this poor inspector here, Sander de Bono, he's trying to find information, but people are, a bit reluctant to tell him what they really saw, what they really, heard, and whatever. So everybody tries to skip and get out of the question, So he has to. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you what he does to get the information. Otherwise, there's no point in reading the book. But he uses his brain. Inspector de Bono is a cunning person. He's a sophisticated person. He has read a lot. And he has that sort of inner psychology. He's one of those persons who understands the human being, the person, with it's sort of second nature for him to get to know people, and he uses that skill of his to solve the crime.
Right. Okay. All right. So that means I can see the author's pen behind those carefully worded words, because I see your credential, and I've read some of the things that you've written. And I can see the novelistic prose so brilliantly, eloquently described in your work. So since we're talking about a murder mystery, Jesmond, did you do some research prior to writing the story?
Obviously, yes, of course. When you're going to write a genre in a genre such as, for example, crime stories, obviously, I think a serious author has to, first of all, the author has to read books of that type by other authors, by masters of the genre, such as, for example, Inspector Maigret, such as Andrea Camilleri, for example, who is a Sicilian author, passed away also recently, and he describes Sicily in his books. And so you have to, first of all, study those the styles of other authors, of great authors. Okay, then you try to discover your own style. You try to develop your own style, which is not so easy. I mean, we're speaking here in 2 minutes, but these things, they take years. You know that writing is a skill that it takes years to master. You know,
exactly.
Obviously, a source for crime writers is the news itself. One hears of very famous crimes being done in the world, and you say, "Oh, that case is interesting. That other case was interesting." Yeah. Then, obviously, one must use his own or her own imagination.
Exactly.
Okay? So usually you take a bit of information from there, a bit of information from there, and then you try to turn it, into magically into something original.
Right.
That's at least how I work, and most probably all other authors, have to go through this sort of process before even starting to write the book.
And I had a conversation with this Alsatian author. His name is Jean-Marie Storkel. He doesn't speak English, he doesn't write in English, but he writes in Alsatian language, which is a Germanic language, and also in French. He writes investigative novel, just like what you call in French the polar. That's what he writes. Yeah, but I can see you also, because although you're from you have two different backgrounds, but your writing also converge. Just like I can see your work through the lenses of Gabriel Garcia Marquez's work, and specifically in his novel Chronicle of a Death Foretold, which is the book that I read many times.
A book that I've read at least 2 or 3 times.
See, I can see that. I can see that.
It was made a movie. It was made a movie way back. I mean, it's really old, but a very good movie by an Italian actor. I don't remember exactly his name just right now, but Chronicle of a Death Foretold. And then obviously there's Garcia's masterpiece.
100 Years of Solitude.
100 Years of Solitude. That also was a book which,
Now, speaking of feature film, Jesmond, I can see this. You've written 2 masterpieces that were turned into feature films. Did you have some experience before, prior to consulting the producers, or did they themselves consult you for the project?
What happened is this. I've written, as I told you, I've written many books in Maltese, including novels, and there was a producer, a local producer, and he fell in love with 2 of my books. He told me, there is a possibility. I would like to serialize the book. He directs also. He has actors working for him, and he told me, I told him, okay, it's a nice thing. It makes the book more popular, obviously, with readers. But there's one snag. I want to write the script.
So what did you say?
I told him that because when you write a book, you have a sort of story in your mind. You see the characters. I knew that I was going to be a bit disappointed about his choice of actors, because I, as an author, I'm seeing the main character as that shape. And then the actor comes and he's, this shape. So there's that sort of shock for me, seeing the character which I created in the book being interpreted by an actor who totally does not resemble the character.
What you had in mind, yeah.
So So I tried to minimize the shocks as possible. And I told him, listen, you choose the actors and you choose the direction, but the script, what they are going to say, it's important. I want them to say what I wanted to say, what I wanted to say in the book. And then I started writing, and you gain experience. They help you out a lot, these people in this trade.
And that means that's the biggest difference between writing a novel and writing scripts.
A script, of course. I would like to see this as a film, obviously a movie, but it's a very far cry. One never knows, but I always say this, Dr. Isma. If a writer is honest, what do I mean by an honest writer? An honest writer is when he has human feelings, when his characters feel like a human being, all right? No matter where the character is, he can be a character living in Malta. He can be a character living in Alsace, where you've mentioned. He can be a character living in Sicily. He can be a character in a book in Iceland. They still converge, because as long as you are honest, you are human. And if you are human, then that's art. And if it's art, it's understood by everybody. Even Eskimos can understand.
That's true. That's really true.
What happens here, because if they have feelings, human feelings, then they can understand a work of art.
That's true, Jesmond. But let me ask you this question more directly. You've been reading a lot. You have written a lot in Maltese, published in Maltese. So what made you decide this time this novel has to be written in English?
I'm 58.
Right.
And when you're 58 years old, you would want to do something challenging in your life. You would say, I want to try something which I never did. Okay, I want to do this. I always wanted to write a novel in English, and I never did, because actually I was always writing, and writing takes time. Writing takes time and the patience and whatever. But I decided, as I said, I wanted to write something which I never did. One, a crime novel. I never wrote any crime. This is my debut. Not crime novel. I want to write it in English, so it's another first for me. And there's another first, a third first. I want to publish this, not in Malta, but I want to publish this internationally. So this is published by Amazon. Okay. With this book, I did 3 firsts in my life. Okay. And there is a satisfaction, because when you write in English, you are writing in an international language.
Correct. That's correct.
That's the whole thing. When I write in Maltese, Maltese people can understand me. All the Maltese people. And how we are 409,000 here in Malta, not even 500,000. Okay. So if you write in Maltese, only 500,000 people can understand you. When you write that same story in English, you have opened yourself to
the world,
to an international market, to the whole world. Okay. So that should answer your question.
Yes. But for the purpose of education, if you want to educate the audience about Maltese cuisine, what is something, let's say that I want to take my wife to Malta right now, what would I be interested in to get if I walk into a Maltese restaurant?
One of the characters of this book is a constable.
Okay.
And he's a gluttonous constable. He's always
Okay.
eating and munching, you know, and he's always having trouble with his diet because his stomach is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's putting him in a lot of trouble because, you know, if you are a police constable, you have to be at least, you know,
Mm-hmm.
look presentable, okay,
Mm-hmm.
not overweight. And I use this PC. He's called PC Mike McAuliffe. McAuliffe is another Maltese surname.
Mm-hmm.
Mike McAuliffe. Mike McAuliffe is always eating, and he eats, for example, the traditional pastizzi.
Okay.
Yes. If you ask Pete Buttigieg what pastizzi are, he'll tell you because every Maltese everywhere has eaten pastizzi. Pastizzi is a sort of snack made of puff pastry and ricotta.
I'm hungry already.
Ricotta. And they are very dangerous because they are calorie bombs. When you start, you cannot eat one. You have to eat two, three, four, and you end up, you know.
Explode.
Then, obviously, we're in the Mediterranean, and the Mediterranean fish
Mm-hmm.
is one of the best fish in the world because the Mediterranean Sea is salty,
Mm-hmm.
and the salt of the sea goes into the flesh
To the
of
fish,
the
really?
fish.
Okay.
So if you love fish, I mean, you must eat Mediterranean fish because you taste the sea in your mouth. Now you know, right now I'm salivating because
Yeah, so with that, I'm just gonna say it's been such a pleasure.
thank you. It's for me as well. Yes, half an hour passed already.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, we could talk forever.
We could talk forever. Yes.
And you know, our conversation is just a piece of education to our viewers, some of whom may probably have never heard of Malta. And you know, and now they know, and they know a great writer that they can relate to when it comes to writing, you know,
Thank you very much.
about Malta. Yes, Jasmine, it's been such a pleasure, and I'm pretty sure that one of these days we'll do it again. What's that?
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. This is really a good opportunity for me to meet readers, potential readers of my book.
Okay.
And this is thanks to you. So thank you very much, Dr. Isma.